Marco Dress here from Victoria, BC. Today I'm summarizing the new owner builder exam and in my opinion as to what's really going on behind this exam. A bit about myself. I was raised in Victoria. We've been here since 1994. I went to Thompson Rivers University. Later on I obtained a master's from UBC. I worked in healthcare for a brief while, and then for the last 6.5 years I've been working in real estate, selling real estate. About 3 years ago, I was renting a condo. I finally saved up enough money to buy a building lot. I built my dream home for me and my family. The only way I could have built that home was doing the owner-builder route, and that's what I did. And I saved about $100,000 building that home, and that $100,000 is $100,000 I did not have. For me, there was no options in terms of hiring a general contractor or a licensed builder. During the construction of my home, I made 35 videos on various topics in terms of what to look for in terms of design and using different materials and working with tradespeople, etc. And those videos were well received. And then when this exam came out, I made one final video noting how dumb I thought this owner-builder exam was. Just having finished my personal home the year before. I cited a number of really good reasons, and then that video just exploded. I've received over 500 emails since then from pissed off residents in BC. I've had to make a number of other videos because people were emailing me desperate for some sort of study guide. I also developed the study guide, which the Home Protection Office does not offer. So let me go into the summary of this exam and what I really think is going on. So first of all, the BC government on their website has a quote, "Putting British Columbians first by making housing affordable for families." Interestingly enough, keep this in mind as I'm going through this video. The Times Colonist, the newspaper here in Victoria, BC, recently published a story. It showed 8 of the top 10 donors for the Liberal Party are tied to the construction industry. Keep that in mind. So BC Housing, Licensing and Consumer Services, known as the Home Protection Office at the time, on July 4th, 2016, introduced the owner-builder exam. Basically, they gave 3 reasons for this owner-builder exam. Reason number 1, to protect the consumer. Reason number 2, it will help owner-builders expand their knowledge, improve quality of owner-built homes. And reason number 3, it will also create a more level playing field for regulation in the industry and improve the quality of construction. So all 3 of those are complete lies. So let me go through them one by one. Number 1, to protect the consumer. So there have been 17,402 owner-builder authorization applications from 2010 to the end of 2016. I submitted a Freedom of Information request to the Home Protection Office asking them how many applications were there to sell homes between January 1st, 2010 and June 30th of 2016, just a few days before the exam was introduced. The answer I received was 410 applications. So we have 17,000+ owner-builder authorizations to build, only 410 applications to sell. This is across all of BC. That would indicate that it's not really a problem. It gets even better than that. I asked the Home Protection Office, or their now known Licensing and Consumer Services, how many complaints did they have on record pertaining to owner-builder homes? And the answer was BC Housing has no record showing the number of HPO owner-builder complaints. So there's basically been no complaints, and if there have been any complaints, they haven't documented them. What does this all add up to? There was never a consumer protection issue in the first place. And think about it, owner builders are building homes for themselves and their families. You're probably not going to build a shoddy home. Guess who's going to build a shoddy home? All those developers and builders that built the leaky condos, they're looking to maximize their margin, not to build above code. What's really insulting is some of the internal documents that the Home Protection Office sent to municipalities, quotes such as, we are the first jurisdiction in Canada to have a knowledge-based exam for owner builders. You know why BC is the first to do this? Because other provinces aren't blowing taxpayer money on administering an idiotic exam when there's zero evidence of a problem in the first place. So basically, in summary, the reason number one given to protect the consumer, in my opinion, is 100% fabricated. The Home Protection Office never had any evidence that there was a problem. Number two, will help owner builders expand their knowledge, improve the quality of owner-built homes. This doesn't make any sense yet again. So that's their statement they're coming out with. First of all, they're not providing a study guide. So I had to volunteer and put together a study guide of email to hundreds of people who are in desperate situations. Second of all, the questions are just idiotic. Having owner built a home, I've talked to builders, developers, I've ran some of these questions by them. Everyone thinks they're completely idiotic. Like, what is the thermal law of dynamics? What is the color of radon gas? Like, nothing that would help you build a home. And a lot of these questions are specifically designed to make owner builders fail the exam. And I'll touch on why this exam is designed to make people fail. Finally, no exam results. So to pass the exam, you have to get 70%, which means you can get 70 questions right, you can get 30 questions wrong, but they don't let you know which questions you got wrong. How are you supposed to improve the quality of your home if you don't know the questions you got wrong? So that argument that this will help expand owner-builder knowledge is completely fabricated again. Everyone that's written the exam and emailed me after the exam has said, wow, this will not help me in any shape, way, or form build a house, because the questions are just dumb. Number three, it will also create a more level playing field for regulation in the industry and improve the quality of construction. So interestingly enough, this exam was introduced in the middle of this year. This year has the highest percentage of licensed builder applications to build single-family homes in relation to owner-builder homes. And why is that? It's because a lot of people are failing the exam. They don't have the courage to write the exam. They're having to go out and hire a licensed builder at a very high cost. And really, the only people this is benefiting is builders. Interestingly enough, as I said, 8 of the top 10 donors to the BC Liberal Party are tied to the construction industry. And many of the people from BC Housing, such as Wendy Atchison, she is the head person at the HPO, or Licensing and Consumer Services, can be found in many pictures online at builder association shows. This does not level the playing field at all. This shifts the playing field in a massive advantage to licensed builders. And there's some other interesting things pertaining to all of this as well. If you're an owner builder, you have to write an extremely difficult exam with no study guide. You're not allowed to book into the exam. You're not allowed to code book into the exam. But builders, for some reason, to get their qualifications, they can go on a cruise in the Caribbean for 7 days. So if you start putting all of this together, what is really happening out there? It's either government corruption through massive lobbying or 100% bureaucratic incompetency. In my opinion, the builders have lobbied the government to eliminate the owner builder. And they have lobbied themselves so they can go on cruises to get their credentials. I mean, it's really sickening in my opinion. And really, what is an owner builder going to do if they can't pass the exam? They're forced to hire a builder. The one thing that bothers me about this is the BC government talks about affordable housing. Do you know what's a way to improve affordable housing? Is to cut red tape, but they've introduced more red tape that's going to make housing even more unaffordable. And the other disturbing thing is I work hard. I work 70 hours a week. I pay a lot in tax. I'm paying for 15 to 20,000 of these exams to be administered in the next 5 to 7 years for a problem that does not exist in the first place. That is just absolutely disturbing to me. Also, a lot of people are really being put out in this exam. Their home construction is being delayed by months. Many people are having to travel to these exam centers. I bet the odds of someone dying on the road traveling to this exam center to write an exam that's not necessary are higher than someone dying in a construction-related accident on their owner builder home because they didn't write the exam. So if you ask me, the head at BC Housing all needs to be fired for approving this exam. Whether this exam was being lobbied in by large builders only to benefit themselves, or whether this exam was just 100% bureaucratic incompetency and just someone at the HPO decided this was a good idea, even though there's not a problem, they should be immediately fired, in my opinion. I'm going to read a few letters to you that I've received, and I have over 500 emails. Let's start with one of them here from the Kootenays. I found your YouTube series and was relieved to finally hear other people talking about how messed up this exam is. I'm sure you're getting lots of emails. Here's a couple of perspectives. Number one, I live in the Kootenays and work as a carpenter. All the homes I have built or worked on in the last 6 years since moving here have been owner built. That's how usually things are in rural areas. Lots of people have the dream of moving to the countryside and building their own house with the help of local builders. That dream is being killed by this exam. I'm not a licensed builder. The guy I work for, as a result of this exam being introduced, is getting licensed and is going to cost a fortune and involve a huge amount of paperwork. We build 1 to 2 houses a year. The annual cost to be divided between 1 or 2 projects a year, driving up the cost of a house by $5,000 to $10,000 overnight, let alone the added expense of those owner builders having to hire a general contractor. I'm also interested in low energy and low impact healthy housing. I could still build homes that meet that or criteria under these rules, but I was unable to build straw bale walls, something I have been heavily involved in. All the homes are already engineered and inspected, but the warranty providers are completely uninterested in taking on the assessment and risk of non-standard building techniques in spite of engineering approvals, probably because they do not have enough data available to calculate risks. So what this gentleman is saying is that the owner builder exam is also gonna really put a damper on building innovation. Some of the other ones, your videos have given me some hope on passing this exam myself. Without this info, I would just not attempt to build my own home at this time. My sob story is not as bad as others. I have the home sitting vacant, or have the lot sitting vacant, moved my mom into my basement, paying 2 mortgages and ready to build, and cannot proceed as things have changed with the Home Protection Office application. Need to take the exam now to build my own house. Wow. My last build was 10 years ago. Now I'm way older and my parents need an accessible home. Now you are the only hope, as I do not have the financing to build and pay a contractor $100,000+ just to manage all the tradespeople for me, which I feel is not worth 4 times my yearly wage. This is also an extremely common one. My story in a nutshell: my wife and I have an accepted offer on a building lot. We've gone unconditional, closing in February. I just found out that the Home Protection Office exam, and I'm dumbfounded. So a lot of people buy properties not knowing about this exam, and then only they realize they might not be able to build a home. Anyway, a million other topics. I could talk about this for hours. For example, a course has popped up on the mainland that trains owner builders, a 1-day course to prepare them for the exam. It's $870 for 1 day. The people running this course are licensed, are tied to the building industry. Once again, to me, this reeks of government corruption or 100% bureaucratic incompetency. Either way, the leadership at BC Housing, in my opinion, needs to go right away. This is my opinion as a taxpayer, and I definitely won't be voting Liberal come this election. I'm probably gonna vote for some random party just as a protest vote, because I find it idiotic that every day they talk about affordable housing, but they just added a ton of red tape. So owner builders that are trying to build an affordable home for them and their families cannot do it anymore. That's it for now. Marco Duras, Fair Realty.